everyone. So today I thought I'd talk about one of the applications of positive psychology coaching for young people, which is NEET prevention. So NEET prevention is not in education, employment or training. So we have a massive problem with youth worklessness and youth aspiration and youth and young people having opportunities and career opportunities in this day and age, which is a massive problem, which is resulting in a lot of social disadvantage and disillusion and mental health problems, because one of the major contributing factors for mental health problems in young people is actually fears and concerns about the future. I will link, I think it's up here. I'll link up here to the video I've got about what causes mental health problems in children and young people, and one of the contributory factors is fears about the future and fears about debt and the environment and opportunities and work and career. And then many young people that do go into further education and higher education, obviously there's fear of debt and career opportunities, and the jobs that young people might have in future don't even exist now with the rapid rate of technology and threats of with AI and things like that. So there's a lot of fear of the future, fear of uncertainty for young people. So how can coaching, also you should know, the pathway to becoming a positive psychology coach and trainer in positive psychology coaching for practitioners that work with vulnerable young people or young people from lots of different backgrounds and schools and youth workers and school nurses and youth offending teams and anyone that really works with young people and wants to support them to develop wellbeing and resilience for prevention is worklessness. So my background is actually careers advice and guidance. I am a qualified careers advisor. I worked in welfare to work for 5 years and in higher education, and also worked in careers guidance. And that's what led me into coaching, because one of my early inspirations for Worth It back in 2009 was I was on a welfare to work contract, and I was learning coaching and positive psychology techniques, and I had a lot of young adults who had never had a job or didn't believe they were worthy of a job and didn't have any self-awareness in order to even put like what their character traits were or their competencies were on a CV. And I was like, hang on a minute, coaching can really help these young people. And then I started to look into prevention, and actually most mental health problems start in the mid-teens, like around 14, when you're going through puberty, like coinciding with adolescent brain development. So I thought, well, let's start coaching on on prevention of worthlessness and improving self-worth and self-belief. And that's why Worth It is called Worth It, because it's about having people improve their self-worth. And the more time went on, the more I realized the psychological barriers to career and being job ready, as we used to, well, I think they still call it that in the welfare to work sector. So job readiness was self-belief, confidence, and like the psychological barriers to career success or even having a job at all, any old job could, So one of my sort of bugbears with the job centre, who call themselves coaches, they're not actually coaches, is it's very heavy-handed in the way it's like, well, here's a job, you need a job, put the two together. But that's actually very disempowering and can actually make the situation worse, because if the job is not aligned with your skills and strengths, you can't motivate yourself to do it because it's so unappealing. It actually, like, if someone, I've had jobs, I've done so many jobs, but when I used to like have to do admin and sit down and do loads of data entry, like, first of all, I'm not very good at attention to detail because I'm dyslexic. I've got a short-term memory problem, so I instantly forget stuff. So it would take me ages to do it. Like, my brain would wander off because I was just rubbish at it. So forcing me to do I could do a job like that, and I have done jobs like that because I had the belief in myself and the worth that I wanted some money, so to buy clothes or whatever, the things that I wanted to do at that time, or pay for my driving lessons, or go out with my friends, so I could overcome the lack of appeal in the job because I could see how it would help me achieve other goals. Whereas some young people don't want to feel like rubbish at something. So anything that's going to make them feel bad about themselves, they will avoid doing it. But they won't even have the self-awareness to know that that's what they're doing. And it's like coming out of their comfort zone. It's protecting them because they don't want to feel that they don't want to feel that uncomfortable feeling of not knowing how to do it, not feeling confident, not being able to ask questions, not knowing where something is, not knowing where the toilet is, not knowing if they're allowed to make a cup of tea for themselves whenever they want it. All those things create massive psychological barriers, and that's where coaching and positive psychology can really come in to help young people access work, training, employment, volunteering, apprenticeships, you name it, it'll help them. So how it helps them is when you're working with a coach, a young person is first of all, that the process of coaching is helping them develop their interpersonal skills, but just by the experience and learning from a supported, trusted adult who's helping them communicate, open up, build eye contact, have adult to adult relationships based on equality and trust and mutual respect, and they're actually designing how they're going to have that relationship together. So that's a real positive, just to experience that in the first place. And then the coach will work with them and saying, what do you want to do? What do you want to move forward? And help them identify some goals. One of my beliefs about coaching and vulnerable young people is that some young people might not feel even worthy to have a goal. So the goal might be quite fuzzy and ambiguous. The goal might be to feel better, to move forward, to have something for myself, rather than latching onto something specific. It might be more general, and it's my belief that coaching actually, when we're working in this sector with NEET prevention, it's about helping the goal striving behaviour. So coaching can help with what's called hope theory, which is a pathway and the agency to move forward towards their goal. So it's more important that we're supporting them with their goal striving behaviour, their ability to have agency within themselves to move themselves forward. So you're developing that skill set with them, and they're practicing that with you in a safe, supported relationship, and you're helping them access the resources within themselves. And then they also have the pathways to overcome, to work towards those goals. So they're identifying, if this is something I'm interested in, what are the baby steps that I need to do to get there? What are the small action steps? How can I keep moving forward? And then you're celebrating and rewarding and helping them recognise the small steps that they're on their way, even if that means failing. Even if that means completely messing up a job interview, or not having the right stuff to wear, because you're supporting them to realise that there's no failure, there's only feedback. And through that process of goal striving behaviour, they're actually developing their resilience, they're learning from failure, they're moving forward, so that the first bump in the road, they don't just give up and go to their bedroom and never leave it again, which is what is happening with some young people. Is they're so fearful of life, and they're just so under-resourced in their capacities and capabilities to function in the modern world beyond their phone, that they can't access life. So we need to invest heavily in supporting these young people to gain skills. And I'm not talking about, I am talking about life, important skills like numeracy and literacy and communication skills and being able to understand banking and finance and filling in forms and those things, but how to have eye contact, how to pick up the phone and phone the doctor, how to go into a job and ask for an application form. The more and more stuff we rely on online systems, the more and more people can't communicate in real life. So when I was a careers advisor, some people would be really good at application processes, because that's a whole skill set in itself. It's not just a skill in doing the job, it's a skill in being able to apply for the job as well. So some people are really good at applying for jobs. They've got all the techniques because it's all online, and then they have to face an actual human being and sit in front of them and tell them how good they are and why they should have the job, and they have no confidence in themselves. And I've worked in recruitment as well, and I've facilitated and coordinated assessment centres in graduate recruitment schemes, and I've done the graduate milk rounds and things like that. And some people are really great on paper, but put them in front of a person and they just clam up because they haven't got the confidence, the self-belief and the self-worth to be able to sit in front of someone and tell them how good they are for an hour. That's what a job interview is. But also I used to say to my clients, like, it's a two-way street. The job interviews as well for you to see whether you're the right, you like them as much as if they like you. You know, it's a reciprocal relationship. So yeah, so coaching helps prevent NEET by supporting young people through that transitional process where they're moving from one system education to another, employment, training, work, apprenticeships, and helping them navigate that process by tapping into the resources that they already have within themselves. So we're using solution focused approaches because we're often blind to our strengths, we're often blind to the things that we're good at. We assume that just because we're good at something that everybody else in the world is good at that thing too, and why would they give that thing to me because I don't really matter anyway, do I? So we're challenging all those negative beliefs and thoughts about ourselves, or we're helping them challenge and recognize all those negative and I'm going to say unhelpful rather than negative, challenging all those unhelpful beliefs that they have about themselves, challenging them to see, is that true? When there's one time when that didn't happen, all of those things. We're also helping build their interpersonal skills and relationship skills through the process of them being coached by us. We're helping them develop resilience in order to navigate setbacks and failure and disappointment and the uncomfortableness of going to a job interview or sitting in front of somebody or making yourself vulnerable by even putting yourself forward. Like, that is vulnerable. Applying for jobs is vulnerable. And if you already feel vulnerable and are fearful of rejection, you're just going to avoid it, aren't you? Why bother? Why just sign on? I just sign on. I know where I stand when I'm signing on universal credit. Like, I'll be fine, I'll make do. And then you get stuck in this rut and you just can't get out of it. And without actually helping young people practically navigate that, we're setting them up to fail for life and we're abandoning a generation. So coaching can help prevent worklessness. Coaching can help move disadvantaged young people forward. It can help prevent them becoming NEET. It can help them, if they are NEET, get back, move forward, get on to the next steps, get them going, and help them develop the self-worth and self-belief within themselves that they can always have, that they then continue to take forward. It can also help young people who are in apprenticeships or in training, finding it hard to get used to routine and people and dealing with managers and people and colleagues that they might not like, that they have to still work with. All that stuff's hard to learn, you know. And some people just need help through that process. And I think coaching is probably one of the most practical, straightforward ways to resource people to be able to navigate that. And I have a course where I train practitioners who work with all different types of young people. A lot of them do NEET prevention work. A lot of them work with highly vulnerable cohorts such as care leavers, young carers, young people involved in criminal behaviour, to prevent crime and criminality, young people who might have been struggling with mental health problems, and young people who are maybe struggling at school. So we want to prevent things getting worse, and we want to help young people develop the resources within themselves, not only that prevent mental health problems, that prevent other outcomes such as becoming not NEET, not in employment, training or education, which is a major priority for our new government. So on that note, if you want to find out more about how coaching could help the young people you work with, sign up for my free course. It's on my website, wellworthit.org.uk. The Wellbeing Academy is my online platform where I run all my courses. There's a free course called Introduction to Coaching Young People. It explains the main theories and models about how and what coaching is and why it's effective as an intervention to work with all different kinds of vulnerable young people. Preventing NEET is just one of the outcomes that coaching can help with. There's so many outcomes that coaching can help with. Coaching is a short-term intervention, usually for a few weeks or couple of months, where we're actually sort of supporting young people through a transitional phase, access resources that they already have within themselves to move forward in life. So find out more, go on the website and check out some of my other videos, like and subscribe. Okay, bye for now.